Hello, my fellow vapors. Oh, this ain't Dimitri. It's Maestro Vapes coming at you. Today I'm doing a quick actually, it's probably not going to be too quick a video because there's a build in it. It's a look at Royal Wire. My buddy Tyler hooked me up with a small piece of this, like a foot of it, and said, maybe you should do a video, bro. And I'm like, I don't have the package. I don't have all the stuff. I can't really do it. So he gave me the package that his 24 gauge came in and the 3 cotton balls that were in it. So big ups to Tyler, man. You rock, dude. You're the best, man. You rock, like big time. You can have a million friends and they could all be shitty, but if you got one friend like Tyler, you're doing pretty good for yourself. So thank you, my brother. You are awesome. Like the bag says, it's 24, but the product inside is 22. So we're going to be looking at the Royal Wire from DRYX. That's 22 gauge, all right? The 24 works out to 0.2 ohms per inch. The 22 is a low resistance wire that comes to 0.1 ohms per inch. So it is a very low resistance wire. When I did a build, it came to about half the resistance that a normal coil would. So when I do standard round 22 gauge Canthal wire and I do about 4 wraps of it, dual coil, I typically get about a 0.12 ohm reading once all is said and done, all right? For this guy, I did 5 wraps dual coil and it comes in at 0.06. So the resistance is really low. I wouldn't replicate this build unless you're comfortable doing builds that are below 0.1 ohm. So keep that in mind, guys. Like, always be safe. Know your limits and vape within it, like I always say, guys. Know your batteries. Know your mod. There's a lot of different variables, okay? So if you got a decent mod with a good battery, like a Sony, you know, you're probably going to be okay if you have no shorts or anything like that, all right? But keep that in mind. The resistance is going to be super low. If you're building, let's say you build with 22 gauge Canthal right now, and you do, you know, 4 wraps maybe, maybe do 5 at least. And I would probably suggest doing 6, even 7 wraps of this stuff. Like, definitely add 1 to 2 wraps when you're wrapping Royal Wire because the resistance is much lower than Canthal is. When I vape it, this is one thing that I got. One more. Man. At first, there's a break-in period. Kind of like nichrome wire. When I started building coils, I built with nichrome. That's what was available to me at my local shop. I built with like 28 gauge and 30 gauge nichrome wire. And it had kind of a break-in period. Like, it had a metally taste to it when you first started vaping it. And I get the same thing from the Royal Wire. So I'm going to assume that the levels of nickel and chromium in it are pretty high. So keep that in mind. If you're not a fan of nichrome wire, you might not like this. I'm not saying that it's the same thing, but there is some of the same alloys in it, all right? Or metals. Is it metals, alloys, or the same thing? Whatever. I'm not a metal specialist, but I have learned a lot about electricity since I started vaping, man. It's decent. Like, it's pretty decent. Try it out. Like, we're going to do a build, and when I do a build, I did one, and I just collapsed one of the coils, which really, really sucked. I was almost done. I was on my second coil, just pulsing it, getting it ready, and boom, it just melted. So I had to go back and do it over again. So there's like a short, like, little edit from looking at the package to, like, collapsed coil. So that's why that happens in the video, and I'll explain it all over again. I'm sure I do that all the time, but this stuff has me scratching my head. Like, I'm really thinking a lot about it, and I'm like asking myself questions about it. Like, the metally taste, what do you think that is? And when I dry fire it, I try to clean the coils, and when I clean the coils, I do it under tap water, and then I kind of pulse it and put it under tap water and pulse it to clean the coils, and the coils are just like dark. Like, they don't go like a light gray or kind of matte look like Kanthal does when you clean them up like that. So it's got me thinking, like, what is it? Why is it doing that? Stuff like that. But the vapor production off of it is pretty awesome. It's a hot vape. Those coils, when they heat up, they just kind of heat up and rock and roll, and then they retain it. Like, you let off your fire button, and it's still kind of retaining that heat, and then it kind of dwindles down. Like, it's like a second or two after you let off, it's still kind of there. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how this wire works, man. But yeah, let's go in, look at the build. But yeah, I'm asking myself a lot of questions, and usually when I do that, I like it. I like it. If I say it's good, then it's probably good, but I might kind of grow tired of it. And if I say it's bad, it's pretty bad, you know. But this has really got me kind of scratching my head, like those things that make you go, So it's pretty decent right now. On my next vlog, I'll talk a little more about it. But let's take it in and look at the build, all right? All right, guys, so this is the Royal wire. This is the package that it comes in. It says Royal by DRYX. This package says 24 gauge, but really this is the 22 gauge wire. I got this from my buddy Tyler, who's a super dope guy, and he gave me a little bit of this to try and said do a video, and I said, well, I don't have the package or anything, so I probably won't. I'll just build it. Long story short, he gave me this package and said, here you go, take the cotton balls and everything. That guy is super awesome. Super duper cool guy, Tyler. Thank you a lot, my brother. So it does come with the 3 cotton balls in there. I've kind of taken a look at them, and really what they feel like to me is they feel like Swispers. Like, you know, the cotton, organic cotton that you could buy at like Walmart? That's what it kind of feels like to me. You know, maybe it's not. Once I roll this out, we'll take another look at it. I'm going to use this to wick as well. You know, we'll build a coil with this wire and we'll wick with the balls that it comes with. You know, why not? That's, you know, I guess what they expect you to do, man. For this package, like I said, it's the 24. The resistance would be 0.2 ohms per inch on the 24. For this 22 gauge, it's actually 0.1 ohms per inch. So it's pretty low resistance, all right? Typically with 22 gauge Kanthal, I would probably wrap, you know, 3 or 4 wraps. I'm almost tempted to wrap about 5 maybe with this, but I'm also tempted to just do my regular 4 wrapper. Let's try 4. Let's try 4. I like 4. I'm pretty comfortable building with it. Feeling it and just kind of bending it, it bends really easily. You know, it's very pliable, very, very pliable. So we'll see how it wraps. I kind of tried to start a wrap on this, and then, you know, I thought, let's shoot the video. I almost forgot, you know. So Tyler was nice enough to hook me up. I'm going to try and make this last for 2 coils. I got a piece that's about a foot long, so I'm going to cut this sucker in half. Take my little cutters here. That looks like about half to me. That's close. I should be able to get a couple of dual coils out of this, all right? Get rid of that piece there. Now, I'm going to use my favorite screwdrivers again. I get these from Home Hardware here. They're cheap. They're like $4 for this package. Although I do break them easily, you know? They work well, but they break. Like the screw, the top of this one came off, which kind of sucks. Like, tried to wrap like a 2 mil coil and broke it, but I wasn't too heartbroken because really I just use these 2.4s a lot. This flathead and then the Phillips when this one dies on me. So it's not too big a deal. Not too big a deal at all. I don't know if they suggest to, you know, torch this or not. I don't think I'm gonna. I'm just gonna start trying to wrap it. Man, I need a vape. Okay, what just happened was, you haven't seen anything. I showed you the bag and whatever. I did a build, and I videotaped it and everything, and then when I dry fired it, my coil just collapsed, like it just died. I popped my coil, so it kind of sucks. So I'm going to try and start over again. I did build 4 wraps on either side, and it came out to like 0.03 ohms, so the resistance was super low on this. For this next one, I'm not going to dry fire this because I just killed it, man. Like, I totally killed my coil. Totes my goats, man. That sucked. All right. So let me try and get this out of here, dude. That sucked. It just folded and died on me. Totally. All right. Let me back everything out of here. Super crappy, man. I was looking forward to vaping this and everything. At least you didn't have to put up with watching it, man. All right, so I have another piece. It's not too much left here. I'm going to try and use this. I've got one that kind of has a ripple in it, so I'm going to try and start with that and see if I can just build off that. I probably can. It shouldn't be a problem. Start putting some wraps into it. It's already got this like little kink in it, so I can probably utilize that as my leg. Because you can fix anything, man. Now my fingers are all slimy, though. That's why... What I got here? 4? I'll try and put a 5th one in here. Because the resistance on this is going to be super low. Alright. Try and push this thing together. That sucked, dude. Like, so bad. Like, it sucked. Man, what a bummer. Like, you build a coil and you're almost there, and then, boom, it just collapses. That sucks. All right. Well, hopefully this royal wire vapes well, because it didn't really stand the test of time for me. All right. Well, that should be good enough. It's pretty tight. It should work. Actually, that one wrap is not too hot. That second one in. Well, I'm going to see if I can just kind of tug that out. Tug that out? That sounds nasty, bud. You guys don't want to watch a video of me tugging that out, do you? Alright. Okay, so I tightened that up. It's looking pretty good. Hopefully I can get another 5 wraps into that little piece there. And like I said, I'm not going to dry fire this time because one thing, it didn't look too happy. Like, it kind of has this film on it. Put that through there. It has this little film on it that kind of cooked off. It was weird, man. Like, I don't know how good I feel about vaping this wire right now after that. But if it's awesome, you know? I'll snug that up. I don't know if you guys had any experiences using this royal wire. Like, how is it? You like it? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, and like I said, I'm doing 5 wraps here. You could probably do like 7 and 8 if you really want, because the resistance on this is low, okay? Keep that in mind, guys. You know, just because, you know, you see somebody wrapping, you know, 4 wrap 20 gauge or 4 wrap 18 gauge or whatever, it, you know, you don't have to vape at that. A lot of people talk to me and say, hey man, like, I'm vaping 28 gauge, you know, dual coils, and I'm thinking about doing your 20 gauge build. It's like, well, why, man? Like, you skipped all those other gauges of wire and you could have had some really good vapes in there. So just gonna take this off, check the resistance on this now with the single coil in there. Let's see how she's looking. But yeah, like, enjoy your vapes. I remember going from like 28 gauge to 26, and it was awesome. Then when I went to 24, it was great. So we're coming in at 0.12, so once I half that, it's going to be about 0.06, maybe 0.08, something like that. It's going to be great, okay? Maybe I should just finish wrapping it on the ohm reader. Now that makes it so far away from the camera. I'm going to put it on a different mod. I'm going to take it off the Manhattan because there's no lock switch on it. And when you're kind of trying to do the other side, the other wraps on your continuous strand build, it's, you know, it can dry fire, or you can fire it pretty easily. Should I go copper Nemi? I'm going to go with the copper Panzer. It's beefy, it's heavy, so it's nice to build on top of. Doesn't try and move around on you too much. When I do this, you know, second side, I kind of put like a bit of a fold in it, just kind of trying to teach it where to go a little bit. That's it. Like you might have to pry on that and pull it with the pliers, but at least you kind of have it started, right? Just make sure that's the same diameter. I'm using a 2.4 millimeter screwdriver. You just start wrapping this bad boy. Just kind of try and tug them tight. You can do this by hand, you know, as long as you have kind of, you know, somewhat strong hands. This stuff wraps pretty easy, but if you're wrapping Kanthal wire, sometimes it's pretty tough. What's that, my fourth one? Here's 5. Sometimes Kanthal's pretty tough. I just stabbed myself in the palm with that. So, yeah, be careful. But yeah, it helps to have a bit of strength. Or you could use pliers, you know. A lot of times when I'm wrapping, like let's say I'm here and I got like a loose wrap, I'll take my pliers and hook them onto that leg, and then just kind of give it a yank, like hold on to the screwdriver, give it a bit of a pull just to tighten everything up, and bam, we're good. A lot of times lately what I've been doing is I'll just kind of wrap it all until it looks fairly uniform, and then I'll tug on it once I have it through the negative post, which seems to work pretty good for me. Put a little arch in here. I like to leave it, you know, somewhat straight where it's going to go through the post hole, and then have an arch in it so it doesn't bind up or kink. But this wire seems pretty nice, so we shouldn't have any problems with that. It's going to make sure that that post hole is opened up. Then I'll try and get this in the camera, in the frame. And then I'll just kind of push that leg through that post hole. Or try to. I just make sure that it's, you know, going through and that I can grab it. Frig, man, I'm bleeding a little bit over here. All right. But enough about my war wounds with building coils. When I do my last wrap, you can move that over a bit, kind of train it to wherever you want it to go. But that last wrap, that fourth one before this fifth one's done, I'll put my fingernail against that so that this doesn't overlap anywhere. I seem to, you know, I find that really helps out. You know, this stuff is pretty soft and it shouldn't go in there, but, you know, it helps it out a bit, and it's not. So, shouldn't be a problem. Grab that screwdriver, give that a tug. Now we're in place, man. Now I can pull it a bit and just snug all of those wraps up. You don't have to kill it, just a little bit, and the royal wire is nice and soft, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. Now I'm going to take the screwdriver out of here, and I'm going to put it in on the other side so that I can kind of push this thing together a bit. And once again, I'm going to check, make sure that those wraps are fairly even. That outside one looks a little bit high, but once I push it, it's going to get rid of that little bulge there. All right. Once again, I use my fingernail and just push against the other side, and then squeeze this all together. Boom. There we go. This royal wire is nice to wrap, man. Super nice to wrap. And get that where I want it. Right about there. That wrap still looks a little bit high, but I'll tell you what you can do, all right? Just make sure that you got that leg pushed there. Grab that lead and give that a slight yank. Slight yank. There we go. We'll fix that right up, man. Right up. There we go. That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. I'm going to pull this out a bit. Just roll it out, just so it's symmetrical with the other coil on the other side. That looks close enough for me to vape. I want to try this thing out. Yeah, it sucked that popping my coil. Like, I was at this point of the build. You know, I tightened all my leads. Like, I'm going to make sure all of my leads or all of my my screws are tight. All my connections are made. There's no shorts in there. And once I dry wired it, it just collapsed. Like, it collapsed. It really, really sucked. But that's what it's going to look like when it's all said and done, all right? I'm nervous to dry fire it, but I kind of want to. I kind of want to. Kind of want to. Let's try the resistance on this again. There we go. All right. Bam. 0.06. I'm happy with 0.06 personally, but that's just me. You know, you might not like it. If I could find the tweezers, I'm going to give this one a little pinch and see if that changes at all. No. You can push on your screws and see if you got a short anywhere. I just kind of moved it now. 0.6. We're still good. We are still good, my friends. Let's fire this thing up, man. I'm dying to try this out. Just gonna give that a little squeeze. There we go. That looks pretty good. Like, that looks pretty good. Like, no dry firing or anything, and it's just like decent microcoils. Just decent microcoils. All right. Let's wick this thing. I'm going to try one of these cotton balls that it comes with. And like I said, it kind of, this stuff kind of reminds me of Swispers. Like the stuff that I use, it's really soft, really fluffy. I like Swispers a lot. I'm going to find where this stuff starts, if anywhere at all. There it is. All right, so I find where the wrap kind of starts on the cotton ball, then I roll it out. I don't think this is Swispers though. It's the same consistent, like the cotton itself seems like the same cotton, but it's, you know, processed somewhere else. Like they roll these somewhere else. It's just a little thinner than the Swispers cotton. What I'm going to do with this is, because it's, you know, fairly thin, normally a cotton ball I will rip into thirds, but this one I'm going to rip in half. About half, you know, something like that. Sometimes it's hard to gauge how much cotton you're using, or how much cotton you should use. Oh man, I really want to show you how I prep my wick. Let me see if I can move some stuff out of the way. Usually what I'll do is I'll roll it on my pant leg, okay? So I've got a piece here, and I just like ever so gently kind of fold it and then roll it. Like I barely put pressure on it and just kind of roll it out. Like I want to keep it light and fluffy. Like I don't want to compress it too much. That's just how I do it. And just roll it till it's very consistent and even. The cotton that comes in this, it's actually pretty nice. Like there's no lumps in it or anything like that. well, at least the one cotton ball that I've taken out of here, right? I use a lot of cotton. Like, I'll use this whole strip to do a dual coil, and I'll show you why. What I like to do is, once I've got it rolled out, then I rip it in the middle because it's going to be fairly even there. And then I start to roll up my tip and get it looking pretty. It looks like a lot of cotton, but the way that I roll it, it's pretty fluffy, okay? Keep that in mind, guys. It's not really a ton here. Do the same thing on the other side. Oh, this is nice. And I just kind of roll it, make it nice. Like, I spend a lot of time kind of messing around with wicks because I want it to be decent, you know? Some of my other videos, I kind of fire through it, or I speed up the wicking process because I spend some time doing it, you know? Once I've got it in there, if it's nice and fluffy, you shouldn't even have to roll it at all. It should just kind of come in there with you. And then I just pull it until I'm, you know, satisfied with where it is. And right about there, it's nice. Okay? Now I'll put in the other side. I used to do it where I'd wrap one, like a continuous strand build, and then I'd use one piece of cotton to wick as well, but it's a lot of work for what seems to be the same result for me. So I don't do that anymore. Sometimes I'll rest that piece of cotton on my hand so that it's kind of just sliding in nice and even as well. Okay, and then just pull it in there. And if you rolled it out nice, it shouldn't do too much binding. Okay, then get it to a spot you're happy with, and I just pull it back ever so slightly. Sometimes I pull it back, forth, back, forth, back, forth if it feels a little tighter, okay? I'm gonna get my cotton scissors. And a general rule of thumb that works well is just kind of cut it at the edge, like the edge of your base, like the lip of your drip well. Just kind of cut, maybe even a little bit longer. I like it a tiny bit longer. But pretty close to being, the size of your drip well, that works good. Then what I do is I'll grab some tweezers and I'll just try and push it into place. So really nice and light. I'll kind of put it in here. I don't want to mash it, like I don't want to, take the airiness out of it. I want to keep it fluffy. Okay? And this works for me, maybe there's something else that works for you, and if there is, keep doing that. Like, whatever works for you. It's an art. It's not an exact science, I know that there's numbers and calculations, but there's an art form to it too, Just kind of keep doing this. Just kind of tuck that in there. Trying to keep it fluffy, like I want airflow to be able to move around in there. Okay. Same thing on this other wick. Just kind of push it in there. I start from the bottom if I can, and then just work my way up. That's it. And you know what? You can put less wick in if you want. You can put more wick in. You can put it underneath the coil if you want. A lot of times when I put wick underneath my coils, it's typically because I've done a parallel build or I've done a twisted build, something like that, and it holds more heat or it vapes a lot hotter. So I put like an insulating bed underneath it. But for this, with just, straight contact coils on a continuous strand build, I don't bother a lot. If some kind of gets in there and tucks under, it's not a big deal, But I do like airflow to be able to move around underneath that coil Like, I don't want to choke it out on contact coils all the time. So, here we go. And that's a little bit fluffy, nice and fluffed. Beautiful. This thing is going to be just sick. I'm excited, man. I am really excited to vape this. Okay. Let's tuck a little bit more. Right now, I'm just like, it's aesthetic to me. Like, I just want it to look kind of pretty and have these little kind of barbells on each side. It's nice if you can kind of get them like perfectly even, because then your wicking is going to be, you know, more even, you know. So try and make it pretty, man. Try and make it pretty. It'll vape real pretty for you. All right. I'm going to juice this thing up and let's have a vape off this. I'm ecstatic to try it out. Woohoo! So that's it, guys. Like, I did kind of a more in-depth wicking part to that because a lot of people ask me about wicking, and I was going to do just a wicking video, and I might still, but, you know, it kind of tells you a little bit about what I do and little nuances and differences that I do to different coils while I'm wicking that one and how I like to do it when I'm cloud chasing, you know? It's got to stay fluffy. I like it fluffy. That's just my personal opinion. I think it works the best, okay? So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you're still sticking around, you're probably one of my hardcore subscribers. Thank you for chilling out with me, man. Like, that's awesome. And thinking about it, I want to give a shout out to Trevor Jones, man. You rock hard. Trevor Jones gave me a shout out on his channel for AFC Cab Vegas trip, and he did a build on an Nimbus in his video, and his builds are good. And he seems like a really humble, cool, down-to-earth guy, and he tells it like it is, you know? And I really dig that about that dude, and I've been really enjoying watching your videos, man. So, you know, thanks, man, for the shout-out, and keep doing what you do, man, because you're good at it, bro, you know? And your builds are good. I was watching you strumming your coils. You refer to it as strumming. I call it raking or sweeping my coils. And I do the exact same thing. And I'd never seen anybody on another video do it. And I was like, man, I thought I was the only one who did that. That's awesome. And that's just where you take something. I usually use, you know, tweezers. And then what I do is I kind of rake against my coils to get them heating up kind of evenly and make them glow from the center out. And typically it works really good if I'm doing a parallel build. I'll always kind of rake my coils or sweep my coils because it really helps them to heat up more consistently and evenly. So when I watched you do that, I thought you were a pretty sick dude, and, you know, great minds think alike and all that good stuff. So big shout out to Trevor Jones, man. You rock. We got Vape Canada coming up, Vape Can 2014, bro. If you can make it up, August 8th, 9th, and 10th, come on up to Toronto, man. Be happy to have you, bro. You can come and stay at my house if you want. We got a room for you, man. So anyway, bro, that's it. That's the look at Royal Wire, you know, and I'm kind of digging it, you know. Once I've kind of gotten rid of the metallic taste from vaping on it for a bit, it's pretty good. I dig it a lot. So in the next vlog, I'll tell you how it, you know, keeps keeping on, you know, like we'll see how it works. I'm going to vape this coil for as long as I can right now. As long as I possibly can until it collapses or I pop it or whatever, and then I'll let you know. And maybe I'll get some more of it. Maybe it'll be my go-to wire. Who knows, right? But that's it for the video, guys. Like I always say, guys, butt out, vape up, and breathe easy. Know your limits and vape within it. And you are going to have a stellar day, my friends. One pull and we're out. I'll catch you on the next one, my friends. Trevor Jones, give me a pound, bro. Right there. Right there, bro. Boom! Yes. All right, man. You guys have a good one. Man.